Okay everyone, now this video on linear quadratic systems is definitely IM3, okay? I would never teach this in IM2, but anyways, there's something to be learned from this one. So IM2 students, please watch and listen from beginning to end, because I promise you'll learn something very important. Here we go. On this one actually, guys, I have a quadratic system. If you look carefully, guys, that right there, you see, is the equation of a circle, which we will learn about in a couple months from now. Okay, IM2? That right there is also a circle. So what we're ideally looking for, guys, is we'll have a circle, and the other circle will cross it, perhaps like that, and we're looking for where they intersect each other. So in this scenario here, they would cross at those 2 points, right? But anyways, let's solve this one, because there's a neat little trick I want you to learn from me. And so here we go. I'll clean this up so that's not a distraction anymore. And by the way, that scenario is not going to happen here, as you'll see very soon. So here we go. So how do I approach this one? Well, I notice that the first equation here, I have an x squared, and I'm just going to go ahead and solve for x squared, like I'm solving for x. So I'm going to minus the y minus 2 squared from both sides. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing there. But I'll show my work down here. So I know the x squared, follow the red, x squared. If I minus the y minus 2 squared, it's gone there. So it's going to equal 1 minus the y minus 2 squared. Okay? Now if I go too fast, guys, I apologize. You may have to pause the video. But anyways, continuing on, I know x squared here equals 1 minus, and this whole expression, guys, if you do it correctly, is y squared minus 4y plus 4. Okay? So let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. I know x squared is 1, and I'm going to distribute the minus here, so minus y squared plus 4y minus 4. Again, I can put the numbers together, so 1 minus 4 is negative 3, so x squared ultimately becomes negative y squared plus 4y minus 3. So now what? Well, notice the second equation has an x squared and a y squared in it, right? Well, we just figured out what x squared equals to in the first equation. So we're going to use substitution, guys. Follow the green here. We're going to substitute that in to the other x squared. Now I need to change screens here, but I'm going to, as you'll notice, I'm going to plug that into the other x squared in the second equation right there. So here we go. I'm going to have negative y squared plus 4y minus 3. Okay. Again, I'm plugging it in right there for x squared, so I have a plus there. And guys, I'm just going to go ahead and multiply that out too. So that's going to be y squared plus 8y plus 16. What I did again, guys, was the y plus 4 squared, and it equals 5. Equals 5. So what I did was plug in right there the x squared from the first equation into the second equation, right? So now what? Well, notice what happens here, guys. I have a minus y squared and y squared. They cancel out to 0. I have a 4y plus an 8y, which is 12y. I have a minus 3 plus 16, which is plus 13. And that's going to equal the 5 again. I can now solve for y. Let's go ahead and minus 13 both sides. Got a little messy there. So we're going to minus 13 both sides. Okay, that's a 13 there. 13 minus 13 is 0, so 12y is going to equal 5 minus 13, guys, is negative 8. Once I divide by 12, I know y is going to be negative 8/12, which actually reduces to negative 2/3. So I have an answer, right? Okay, so what do we normally do once we figure out what y is? We know y is negative 2/3, right? Don't we? Let me clean this up here. Don't we just pick one of these two equations and plug the y in? So let's go ahead and plug it into the first equation here. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to need another page here. So I have x squared plus y minus 2 squared equal to 1. Let me make sure I copied it down correctly. X squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 1, right? And what I'm going to do now is, since I know y is supposed to be negative 2/3, I'm going to plug in my negative 2/3. Okay? Okay, so now when I plug in negative 2/3, guys, here's what I get. I get x squared plus, again, plugging in the negative 2/3 right there, using my calculator, you see negative 2/3 minus 2 is negative 2.66. And then when I square it, I get 7.11, right? So this whole thing becomes 7.11 equal to 1. And remember, I'm solving for x because I already know y, right? So minusing 7.11 from both sides, x squared is going to equal negative 6.11, because again, 1 minus 7.11 equals negative 6.11, right? Do you see the problem here, guys? If x squared equals a negative, then we don't have a real answer, right? Because if I try to do the square root of both sides, I'll get x equal to, but over here I'm doing the square root of a negative. We would call that an I number, right? So we have actually square root of 6.11i. It's not a real number, right? So therefore, guys, the thing I want you IM2 students especially learn is, notice we did all this awesome math here. We came up with a good answer, negative 2/3. But guess what? Once we plugged it in there, we ended up with an answer that did not come out true, right? Did not come out real. It came out to be a complex, imaginary number, right? So, long story short, guys, because of that, we have no real answer, no real solution. There is no solution. In other words, right? No real solution here. Now, let's see if that makes sense. You've probably noticed I've been skipping over this graph here. But guys, what you see here, if you follow my yellow here, is I have the red circle, which was our first equation. That was this one right here. Okay. And the other graph right here in blue is my second equation. What do you notice about the graphs? They never cross each other like that, do they? If they don't cross each other, guess what, guys? There is no solution. There is no answer, right? And so, long story short, guys, please remember that as you cleverly solve algebra problems, sometimes when you plug it in, it doesn't work. So I want you to remember to always plug in your answers and check to make sure it works. Okay? Because like this one has shown you, sometimes you will get no real answer, no real solution. Okay, guys, so until next time, bye.